Hello, one and all, and welcome back to more Let's Play Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I am the Max Few Trades. In the last part, we ended off in a very strange point, if I'm honest with you. I don't know why there was a break spot there, but there was, so we took a break. And we basically just grilled Director Cosmos on just about every dang thing we possibly could, and ultimately this man just keeps on lying. Just constantly, over and over again. And that obviously do be making him crazy suspicious. So we're gonna, hopefully actually get to the bottom of all that this time. Let's go. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. Are you, though? I wonder. I actually have to question. So, the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulist cur. Fabulist? That's not a word I'm familiar with. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly? Or very quickly? Also, he spins around a lot. It's funny. The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this, because I ain't gonna buy it! Fine, I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. Okay, question, why? Why would she do that? I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevators and all the way around to the boarding lounge 1 again. Okay. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene. So she was entirely unaware of who she was shooting at? That's interesting. Little bit gun happy unless she saw the silhouette of a gun. I guess that's possible. What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am! When I arrived in the lounge alone, I saw the true killer! The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness! Hold it! Okay, but you have a long storied history of lying, so... Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you. No! It wasn't me! I saw the person as well! If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall! Huh. Okay, actually... Okay, wait, hang on. Hang on, actually, that is a good point. Okay, yeah, all I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. That actually holds water. That's worrying, actually. Okay. Well, it makes sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So, Director Cosmos' claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? In the pudding, obviously! The meek pudding. Anyway, I just remembered. I have an alibi! Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes, and? Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll cooperate with me. Will they now? The director is not fibbing to the court for once. A miracle! I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. And that you arrived at the lounge after that? Yes! I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. We call that disassociating. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an Earthling. I would sincerely hope so. As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. And give it to us the truth way! In a truthy manner. Come on now. What I really witnessed. Pew, pew, pew! As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. How'd they do that? I was near the elevator side door and, well, the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. That would make sense. So you were shot at by the killer as well? And then they disappeared? So then... But that's confusing. What? So what, did the killer miss you? Because we know that the bullet that hit you came from Candace's arm. Interesting. Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. You don't need to call it like that. That's weird. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Taryn's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. And that must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. Well, that was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. I don't blame Athena for getting a little lost here. So let's see. Let's bring it back from the beginning. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Taryn and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Taryn's oxygen tank and ruptured it, which is weird because Cosmos was standing at the door, and I assume there was light behind him, at least a little bit, otherwise the killer wouldn't have tried to shoot him. But Taryn was on the floor, so why would the killer have aimed at the floor? That's weird, right? And then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out too. Boy, that would have been incredibly awkward and unfortunate. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Yeah, we don't have any idea. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate, but what I found was Taryn with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Isn't that just delightful? Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence!
Okay, well we don't really let mysteries happen around here. We need an answer. A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. Okay, well now you're just kind of being mean. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day, and it's a very powerful one too. Damn, kudos. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. All I can say is that the vibes are off, and that doesn't really float in a court of law. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono? I don't know why you would ever assume I'd do that. Ya dingus. Ugh. I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? Oh, yo, you want to do some therapy? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Damn, them some big words you just used. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? Well, this just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. All right, you got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. You don't get a choice in the matter. Let's freaking go! All right, so it's not like an overload of emotion. So we're looking for contradictions of emotions. As I tried to enter the lounge, he's still on the Segway. Amazing. The true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. Perfectly understandable. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. Okay, I see an issue here. I was near the elevator side door. And, well, the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. All right, I see 2 things of note, actually. Okay, why are you sad about the launch pad door? And also, when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. Okay, let's start with the first one on the list then. Why aren't you surprised to see that the body, or the person, had vanished? What's up with that? You want to explain that, old man? You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. And yet you showed no emotion to this fact. I did! That kind of thing doesn't just happen, usually. On occasion, maybe, but not usually. And yet at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. You're a hippopotamus. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. As for the southern door, I was freaking standing there! On a Segway, I'll have you know! I was standing right there! So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Taryn, yes? Well, what if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it! As you recall, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. Yeah, that's true enough. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. That's still weird! So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? Oh, that's an interesting noise you made. Okay, it's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. Oh, so it's like a 2-part thing. Okay, there seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him! Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. All right then, if and that do be the case, let's see here. Yeah, near that, and then for some reason, you felt distressful emotions about the door. Why are your emotions so distressed? Explain them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launch pad door. What up with that? The great Yuri Cosmos? Afraid of a goddamn door? What basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Vibes. Mostly vibes. I'm gonna be real, I don't know how we keep getting away with this. Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I mean, that was a hell of a reaction, so I'm most certainly not. Continuing to lie, Director Cosmos! There's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Wow, he's speechless. Looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pieces of data, and... yeah, just what I wanted to see! Ooh, that's a substantial, reduction. Good. Presto changeo! Less discord! Huzzah! It looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to, which is all interesting. I'm not 100% sure if he's the actual killer or not, though. So it could easily be he knew because it's what he used after killing, or he really does just think that that's where the killer went. That's a fine mess, I must say. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these 2 pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. I don't know what it is! Uh-oh. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? Okay, well, if that's the question you're asking, then yeah. They must have gone through the launch pad 1 corridor. It's the only option. The culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard! We're gonna crash into an asteroid! Jesus Christ! A master tactician? You are not. I don't know how you're in charge of these things, I really don't. But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we could just figure out what the director is hiding about the launch pad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. but the door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Taryn, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock. Do you? Well, I mean, I kinda do. Well, that's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. That we did do. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Well, if I remember correctly, it was Starbuck's hands, I think. That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. They just kind of had to prop him up. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. No contradictions on that one. Looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door, or he just really loves spinning, which admittedly would be fair. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. How do we get more? I need more! You know, something just occurred to me. Feel free to speak your mind, Judge. Would you like to hear it? Yes, I would. Huh? Yeah, by all means, please. This is an open conversation. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1. Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. And what about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Primarily, ordinarily, yes, but not in this instance. Instead, it very mysteriously turns off at the exact moment where we would learn more things. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? I mean, it is good logic, you just are operating with faulty information. We should not be judging him for this! He's doing his best! What, does everybody know? I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. This is why he doesn't talk out that much. You guys are so mean. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Beep. See, check that mess. Oh, my, the footage cuts off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged, conveniently. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There's no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. Who the hell's talking about aliens? Why is this guy on about aliens? What's he trying to imply? And I thought it was such a good idea, too. It would have been! Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell! How did you know about my grandchild? Are they in danger? Are you threatening them? Are you threatening me? What? You think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world? Yeah, the adult world sucks. Children always say they want to grow up. They don't. They just don't know they don't. Anyway, setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? Chrono Trigger, if I must. Okay, we're doing this again, are we? Alright. I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. Info update-o! Behold! But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then, the detective shot at me. Okay. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad. The launch pad, right? Okay, hang on. Did I notice this? Yes. Okay, hang on. That's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door, and then the detective shot at me. Why are you... Okay. This feels maybe like splitting hairs, but he's really surprised to see her, and he's not surprised that she shot him, or at the very least, less than when they first showed up. If I got shot, I'd be shocked as all hell, so... Why are you comparatively less surprised about being shot? Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you? And again, when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? I mean, the way that Phoenix said it sure doesn't sound strange at all. Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. And seeing someone aim and shoot a gun at me is pretty scary. I'm not going to say it's not. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yeah, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon? Yeah, check this mess. First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And then, my medal! And just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. This is all very natural. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Is this even what I noticed, or is this something different that I just stumbled into? Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were surprised twice, not surprised by something else, more surprised when Arm came. Thank you. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. So what's, earnestly, what is up with that? The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. There, I hiccuped. Why? The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence operation. Hide under your desk. Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Hey! Not quite. Close, but not so much. Unfortunate. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door. And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. That is true. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And the knob! The knob! This is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that! There is a change! Something's definitely different. Somebody messed with the security knob! Who does that? Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Plotting, mostly. Don't worry about it. Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you. That's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous! If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already! Ha! You have no idea how we operate at all, do you? We're playing this by ear, flying by the seat of our goddamn pants. Normally, most people wouldn't be able to make that work, but we're not most people! He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. This mess right heckin' here! Take that! What's up with this? The answer is this knob. Gargle bargle boggin! That's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Alright, take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. What does that mean? It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this suspicious knob! Gargle broggle! After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Oh my god, I'm so dizzy. Oh, fire, I bet it. You're right. I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there'd be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. Okay, that's honestly fair and understandable, but why didn't you say that? You wanted to do what? Hey, did Ponko tell us something about how they prepared for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. I mean, it makes total sense. Wanting to move the whole section away, like get the explosions further away from the center, that's totally viable. I get that. I believe that. But why would you be so cagey and secretive about it? But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then where did the killer escape to? That's a good question, Athena. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. Guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Yeah, there was still some discord left, wasn't there? Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving that launch pad in more detail. Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. Yeah, I'll bet you are. All right, let's see. What do we got? Okay, I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock, he said, simultaneously afraid but happy. That's weird. I feared there might be more explosions, so I had to cut the launch pad loose. Surely the only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. Gasp, but that area was a sea of smoke. Confound it, where on earth could they have gone? All right. I do have to say, the way that he's saying things and going about everything, I mean, I was fairly convinced he was the killer, but I don't know. I don't think he's a good enough actor about all of this. I think he legitimately isn't, which is interesting, but okay, all right, then I guess it has to have been Aura. Yeah, all right, well, we'll get to that when we get to that, I suppose. Why were you happy about turning the security thingy off? The safety lock. I have no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself. What up with that? Bargle! How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Yeah, technology be kind of cray-cray, yo, if I'm honest with you. Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology! Oh, Athena. She's so happy and proud. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda! Ah! How do you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. Ain't that the truth? We really haven't seen that emotion from Phoenix too much so far. It's a absolute treat. You have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never, ever tell you. So there! I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. And it's like a wedding cake. It's heckin' huge. And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity? And other I words probably. Oh, okay, I'll be quiet. You? A man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? He's extra angry about all of this. You spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor. Liar! Oh boy. His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launch Pad 1 after the explosions? My, how naive you are. What, are you saying that he did it before? You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. Thank you, Phoenix. Like, stop with all the old-timey sayings and weird-ass nonsense. Just say words. Donk, donk. And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launch Pad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launch pad? I don't know, he seems really convinced that he did. Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. History's greatest liar? Well, that's a bit of it. That's overstepping. That's a little exaggerating right there. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar! Man, he's really shaken by that. But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to. Ah, why? You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Crap! Reality is crap! I'm miserable all the time, and everyone else needs to be miserable as a result of it. Arrgh! That's basically what it's coming off as from this dude. Or are you not mad enough to, boy? Yeah! The audacity of Blackwell calling Phoenix an old man and boy in the exact same day. Pick a lane. Man, talk about hitting below the belt. Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. Please elaborate, because at this current moment in time, I am a wee bit clueless. What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? I don't know, just follow me for a minute, I guess. What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot? All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. But then how would they... How would have Starbuck and the victim gotten off? Like... Alright... Yeah! Ah! His hair! Oh, it came back. Oh, that's very funny. Ha! That's very funny. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Oh, I could have made a goose noise. Instead, I just made it sound like he was choking on his own tongue. Was what I said really that off base? Donk, donk. It pains me I have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Sorry, that was a weird way to say that. Oh, right. Yeah, Phoenix. Like, you said that so confidently, I was absolutely convinced that I had somehow missed something somewhere. My God. So to reiterate. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Boy. Ah! Get a grip, mister. Right in focus. You know the launch pad must have been moved. But our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. Oh my God, they might not have. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. I doubt that's the case, but I do think you might be onto something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. It's okay, it's okay. Your crazed ramblings are actually on base a little bit here. Never actually boarded the rocket? Like, do we actually have proof that they did? And am I not remembering? Did we ever figure out how they were able to get down that ladder? I mean, they wouldn't have had to go down the ladder if they never went up the ladder. Wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. Eh? Okay, hang on a second. Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if, when the director moved Launch Pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Well, he would probably, you know, just be kind of an asshole about it. Not believe us, be all incredulous, you know, his usual shtick. Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you. Damn, okay. All right, I know I told you to cut out the prose, but Jesus. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. Yeah, okay, fine. No, I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor, let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launch Pad 1 was to hide it, to switch it to another place, to trap the true killer. Well, I mean, that kind of, this kind of has to be the case. I would assume. Otherwise, what we're trying to argue doesn't really make any sense. because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? Like one of them newfangled Nintendos? But what could he possibly have switched the launch pad with? Well, there is another building that's on the swivel pad, so I guess. Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. Clear like the sun when you leave a box. This is what switched with Launchpad 1. It would have had to have been the museum, I guess.
Take that!
That's all that makes any sense, I suppose. Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean. I can mean, and it's what I'm going with, apparently. The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the... That's right! Yeah, Ponko said that it was still built to be basically the exact same as the rocket the entire time. Oh! Oh, that's so cool, though! That's clever! What? Bald-beard, Balderdash! I thought he said Bald-beard the pyre. No, Balderdash! And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. I don't know how you did that on a piece of paper, but I'm impressed. That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from Boarding Lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 2. Welcome! Welcome! The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Are you really telling me that that little incidental dialogue actually had a purpose? Exactly! Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. So what up? In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. We're actually doing some real deal damage to Blackwell right now, my goodness. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into Boarding Lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Is that why there's a tube behind? Was that there the entire time and I didn't even notice? Oh my god. How did it? Okay. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who, we can suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. Had to have been a real wake-up for the killer, like, Jesus, what the hell's going on? Wow. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, Dono. I see you know how to handle a sword, and handle it well. Yeah, well, I do have so much more experience than you. Perhaps I could call you Sword Master Bluff. That's not a terrible name, all things considered. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor. He really has! Far more storied and deadly prosecutors than you ever were, I'll tell you that much.
Silence.
I'm not intimidated. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right! You have no proof I switched the launch pads! Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. I mean, you would kind of assume. At this point, launch pad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. Wait. Is the thing that I literally just discovered how we're gonna do? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Yeah, like corridor 2. That was there the entire... Yeah, there's a... That's something I could have noticed so long ago. Oh, God, that bothers me. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. That it is. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Yes, Athena. I dare say that I just might. Huh? That number on the floor. Yep, that do be a number on the floor. Oh, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff? I mean, it's not, though. That's the fun thing about Phoenix. Maybe he's bluffing, or maybe he's about to absolutely annihilate you. You never really know. He's very, very deceptive that way. It's a lot of fun. Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then. Enter this for me, if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum?
Take that!
Right there. There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Thank God for proper categorization and labeling. Woo! Label everything, people. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. You see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? Doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Ooh, didn't see that one coming, did you, Buster? Woo! Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Yeah! Man, we got a lot of people screaming today. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, on the side opposite of the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. And also, yeah, no, you would even think, well, why didn't anyone see it? Starbuck was completely zonked out of his brain because he was drugged and Terran is dead. He would have been able to say something about it otherwise. There you freaking go! That's awesome! Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Yeah, well, why not? Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. What about Blackwell? Aura, specifically? There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Wow, the noise level finally went down. Well, there you friggin' go. Bam, bada, bam. Museum time. Get your knowledge on, y'all. Get that knowledge. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, widget. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. That's normally what we do when we point out, we figure out someone is the killer, though. Yeah! My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine ignition. What? It's got haywire! Ah! Oh, it won't stop! It stars. Rubble! Ah, my stars, my glory! Ah! 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 He's looking like he's coming out of curving. Whoa! No, not that way. Ah! Wow. Like a Looney Tune. Bailiff, on your steed, and after that, witness. Please tell me the bailiff also has a Segway. Okay, but oh, all of his stars did indeed fall off. You see, we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Impressive considering the warp speed factor on that. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1, unless he's just not very bright, but let's assume that he is. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? Yeah, with the air tanks and everything? Yeah, that's weird. And as for my second question, bang-a-lang! I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. Well, damn, I don't actually think we can do anything about that. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. His horseshoes and balloons, however, shall remain the judges. They are his now. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy. I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why, but I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? Yes. Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. Weird time to bring this up, but I can't help but notice we've met 5 of the 6 individuals in this photo. Is that relevant to anything? I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive. So it would seem.
Silence!
Why though? What have you got against dreams? You're not going into space, Starbuck, but prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? What did he do to you? Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, well, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. Yeah, I don't think murdering the defendant is really the play that you think that it is. Gag! If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to assume this is Fulbright. Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It could be none other than... It's me again! Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here! In Justice We Trust! Detective Fulbright? Why are we shocked? Was he not supposed to be here? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment? Yeah, like what? I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell ya, justice sure is a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats, or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. What? I'm sorry, what happened? Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. Thonk, thonk. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. Justice judgment. What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. He did do that. Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. That's true. This is true. I didn't think he was serious, though. Yeah, I thought he was just saying niceties. So, what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed! Have a look at this! Yo, the lighter! What's this? A lighter? That's right! A lighter thought to have been used by the culprits, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. I guess it is small enough. That would make some sense. It has the victim Clay Taryn's blood, along with the killer's fingerprints on it. But what? Yeah! Like, just straight up? That feels weird. But okay, I guess. Order! Order in the court! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent! This is it? This is just what I needed? If the trial is over, why am I getting evidence right now? Your Honor! This is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim! I have no reason to be, like, so confused and cautious right now, but I very much am. What's going on? Things don't go this way for us. This is too convenient. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Taryn, they escaped with lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred, like so. Check this mess. Didn't really need a fade to black on that one. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence!
I will do no such thing! Donk, donk. But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time?
Objection!
Phoenix seems to think that he couldn't, so we're gonna roll with it. You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? You do seem weirdly desperate about this. But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with the lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? Wasn't he wearing gloves? You know what, whatever. This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. Yeah! This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claim. This feels wrong! What's going on? As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No. There must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence!
Tomorrow what? Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent, in light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty. Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. That's great even. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. I'm Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. But that's going to have to wait. Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Oh, okay.
Objection!
But court is adjourned. You can't object when a court is adjourned. It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell? Are you dissatisfied with the verdict? That's a bit of an understatement. Fulbright! What were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Ha 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 ha! Ah ha 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 ha! Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and, well... Bro, you didn't even read it? What? I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck's, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. Huh? So says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? I don't... Okay, but I mean... Okay. I don't like where my brain is going. There was all that... There were... Oh! And there was... Oh. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, give me a second. There was all of those small moments. Remember when we were investigating? There was like Phoenix was like, oh, you seem to know Ponko, and Athena was all like, oh, yeah, no, because I was here before. And then Aura was all like, oh, so the princess returned to her castle, and that was weird. And there were, like, those other things, like those little tiny moments that I couldn't really understand. Oh my god. And there was, when Apollo left, Athena said that she felt suspicion in his voice. Oh my god. Miss Syke, tell me you have an explanation for this. Please tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got there, but I know I'm not the culprit. Athena, that's not good enough. That's not even remotely good enough. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? My head actually hurts. What have I done? Please forgive me, I'm sorry. Ow. I'm actually getting a headache. Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order! Order! I will have order! Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. What do you mean that's the end? That's the end of the cave? Wait, no! What? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Okay. I'm confused, my head hurts, and I have 1.5 billion questions. But there is no way in hell that Athena did it. That can't be possible. Okay. And I guess the last case is us going to be us proving that. Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. Okay, I'm gonna calm myself down and we're gonna figure this out. Yeah, okay. We're gonna save Athena. And I think we're gonna figure out the answer to about 50 or so mysteries that have been building up over the course of this game. Okay, all right. I'll see you all then.